Hi, I'm Travis McGee, Chief Commercial Officer at Nadex, and welcome to the In the Know series. Now in today's video, we're going to talk a little bit about the U.S. elections. We have a big day coming on Tuesday, November 3rd, as we have President Trump up against the Democratic nominee Joe Biden to see who is elected president for the next term. So a couple things you need to be aware of. One is the headline risk around this event. And it's not just the event itself. It's not just November 3rd. It's certainly leading up to that event as well as post-event. So leading up, you have news that could come out about how the lead is changing, who is ahead. Is it President Trump ahead? Is it Joe Biden ahead? There's another big event. We find ourselves in a once-in-a-lifetime situation right now where the bulk of the ballots that are going to be sent in are going to be sent in via mail. So will we get the number and the results that same day, or are we going to have to wait a day or two, potentially a week or so, before we find out who the President of the United States is? So a lot of big things out there. If you're going to be trading the U.S. elections, it's important, one, to have a plan, and two, understand some of the current trends that are taking place right now and how those could potentially change. So some of the trends that we've seen at the moment, again, we've got a broader market. S&P, Nasdaq, Dow for the better part of 3 months continue to work themselves their way higher. And then when you look over at the FX and the currencies, we've got that U.S. dollar that's been leaned on for the better part of 3 months, trading lower with the euro, British pound, and the Aussie dollar all trading higher. So 3 different areas of focus as you do your due diligence and try to find an opportunity in this U.S. election. Those 3 areas are, 1, trade. We've talked about trade wars. Trade wars have been front and center for the better part of a year now, certainly pre-pandemic. So when you have President Trump, there's been a lot of pressure on China, as well as a lot of pressure on our allies in Europe. The thought being, if Joe Biden were to be elected president, that he would ease some of those pressures on our European allies and maintain the pressure on China. But by easing some of the pressure on the allies, you could certainly see currencies like the British pound and the euro benefiting as a result of that. Now, if taxes and regulation were to take center stage, the thought being with President Trump, lower taxes, lower regulation. Joe Biden elected president, higher taxes, higher regulation. At least that's the thought and understanding on the street. Generally, markets like the S&P, Dow, the broader equity indices love lower taxes. They love lower regulation. They're not a big fan of higher taxes and higher regulation. So if Joe Biden were to win, thought being markets could potentially move lower. President Trump were to win, markets could potentially move higher if taxes and regulation were to take center stage. And then finally, stimulus. President Trump has been a fan of less stimulus. Joe Biden has been a strong advocate and proponent of more stimulus. Now, with that more stimulus and pumping more money into the economy, you could continue to see adverse effects on the U.S. dollar, so that dollar continues to move lower, British pound, euro, and the likes continue to move higher. So those are 3 areas that as a trader you want to focus on, you want to do some due diligence around as you position yourself to trade these U.S. elections, and you position yourself to build out a trading plan to make sure that you're well on your way to approaching those U.S. elections in a disciplined manner. So a big time coming up, November 3rd, big opportunity, but again, important to have a plan. So let's go out there, let's get after it.